Kitchener-Waterloo, and I'm a video journalist. So my educational background, I studied political science as my major at the University of Toronto, and I did minors in French and German. And then after that, I was really looking at 3 different ways to go. I was looking at journalism, also police work, and intelligence. And I think I liked all 3 because of the investigative nature and also this idea that you're serving the public and you know, you're helping people out, and especially with things that they need to know, or you know, you're informing them or protecting them from things that may be a danger to them. So I eventually chose journalism because I like the creative element of it. And so I went back to journalism school at Seneca at York and did two years there. And then after that, I got my first internship, first big internship at CBC, National Radio News. And then it just went from there. Yeah, internships, I would say, are crucial. I know they don't pay that often, or they don't pay very much, but the experience you gain from them is invaluable. And it's also the contacts that you develop during your internships. I mean, this business is a lot about who you know, and people that you knew from 5 years ago can probably hook you up with something later on down the line. So it's good to you have to keep a positive reputation about yourself, and it's good to always just cultivate those contacts because they may be the ones who will fix you with a job later on. Well, the first thing that we do is we have a story meeting, so we decide what stories or what events we're going to cover in the Kitchener-Waterloo, Guelph, Cambridge, southwestern Ontario area. So we just take a look, and then all the reporters are there, the news directors are there, and we just sort of divvy it up. So we figure out who's going to do what and when, and we coordinate equipment and all these sort of things. And then after that, I start doing my cold calls, so I'll just start calling up the people I think I need to interview for the story, or I do the research, just all the groundwork. And then usually by 11, maybe 10:30, 11, I'm out into the road, just heading out into the field to find these people and interview them. I try to be back by 2:30, 3 o'clock, and then I start writing it. I give the tape to an editor, and then around, say, 4:30, 5 o'clock, the script is ready. We start cutting it in the editing suite, and then 6 o'clock comes around and we record it. So most stressful, I would say, is just some days the luck just doesn't work for you. People can't make time for you at the time you were hoping for, and sometimes you just feel like your story is not going to make it. And I would say that's probably the most stressful, but it doesn't happen all the time. And you learn how to deal with it. You learn how to come up with backup plans. I would say the most rewarding thing in the job is, well, you get to see a lot of things that people don't get to see in their daily lives, and you get to be right in there when things are breaking. But I would also say it's really satisfying when you have a story where it's very complicated, there's 2 sides that are arguing about something, and they both come up to you after and they say, you know, I think you did a good job and you were fair. You know, I think that's probably the most satisfying. It really depends on which part or which aspect of journalism you work in, but I would say for the most part, most of us do not get into this because of the money. I mean, a lot of people do think that we make tons of money, but the truth is that we don't. I mean, a lot of my friends who went into commerce or banking, I'm sure they're all making more money than I am right now. But I guess the trade-off is that you get to be doing some really cool things, and you get to meet all sorts of people that you would never get to meet working in a bank or something like that. And it's just extremely rewarding, and you really have to love it. There are some perks. I mean, at least for us at CTV, we do get some help with the little things like dry cleaning or your meals when you go out of town, or a bit of a clothing budget, since obviously that's a part of our job, that we have to dress appropriately. So yeah, you do get some perks like that, and as you go up, there are more. But for the most part, you know, it's nothing like a free car or you know, a free place to live or anything like that. I mean, for the most part, it's just the little things that help in your job. Yeah, no, it plays a huge, I mean, it's changed the game in a lot of ways, because it just makes your content rewatchable. It gives it a whole new shelf life. I mean, it used to be, without social media, it used to be, or the internet, it used to be that you would watch a TV news story, and if you missed it at 6, that was it. You never saw it again, unless you contacted the station and asked them for a copy. But with the internet, you can watch it over and over again. You can send it to your friends. People halfway around the world who would never be really watching your newscast can watch it. So it definitely gives it that shelf life. It's also helped us in terms of contacting people, especially in the more tragic cases when someone's death is involved. Facebook, oftentimes they'll have a page, or they'll have friends who write letters of or messages of condolence or things like that. And it just helps us to track down, who was affected by this tragedy, and helps us to locate those people when before it would have been tough. And then with Twitter, I think it really helps to promote your stories and also keep updated. It's almost like you're in this ongoing conversation with your audience. So you're not just talking to them at 6, but throughout the day you're saying, oh, I'm talking to so-and-so, or I've got this in my story, or check this out, I've got the picture of this going on, And I would say, yeah, we definitely, in terms of reaching out to our demographic, we ask questions off the CTV Twitter accounts or Facebook pages, just, what's affecting them, or what they think of a certain story, or what would they like to see, things like that. So that's one way that we work through it. It depends. Some days are low-key, some days are really high stress, but I would say the biggest thing is that everybody works quickly, and you really have to adapt to just being quick and efficient and just curt with your time in a way. So you just have to tell someone, say to your producer, okay, this is the story, this is what I have, this is what I'm gonna go do now. And there's no real time to dilly-dally and talk about all these other things that may have happened in the story or whatever. It's just, you just want to tell them the bare facts of what is happening, and that's all they need to know. So I think for people who like to talk maybe a lot and like to get into lots of little details, there's really not a lot of time to be doing that. So it's best to just be efficient and quick with whatever you have to say. I think the first thing would be obviously writing. I mean, writing is so important to anything that you're doing in journalism, whether it's on print, it's on radio, it's on television, online. I mean, you just have to know how to write. And writing for different mediums is obviously a different skill, because TV and radio, you're writing for the ear. Print, you're obviously writing for the eye. There's lots of differences, but just being a good writer is one good thing. And I think also having curiosity about things and not accepting things just as they are. I think you have to have a sort of a mind that wants to know more about the things that are around you. And I would also say a good sense of how to deduct arguments and to understand that there are multiple viewpoints to the same issue. And you have to kind of clear yourself for, I mean, there's no reporter who's not completely unbiased, but you have to be able to see things as objectively as possible, and you have to try to learn to filter yourself a little bit and to just present the facts. And that I would say those are the things that you kind of need. When you're first breaking in, a lot of it is just grabbing that first experience. So you have to be open to just taking whatever can give you some knowledge in whatever it is that you want to do. So if that's, say writing for your local school paper, or if it's helping out at the local volunteer TV station or the community television station, or doing some radio broadcasting with your school or your college. I think even the morning announcements, things like that will really help you out. Anything that's sort of not directly correlated, but at least has some relevance to what you want to be doing. I mean, for example, my first job in TV was pulling cables for hockey games. I mean, people might not think that has anything to do with the news, but that's still a skill that I use today, that I have to coil cables and do all that technical stuff. And it helps me to have a better understanding of what other people's jobs are. So it just immerses you into that field. A lot of people come into it thinking that there's a lot of people who just want to be on air, but I mean, there's so many other possibilities within journalism. I mean, we need writers, we need producers, we need field producers, we need technical people. I mean, there's so many other jobs other than just being on air, and they are all very important. I mean, even though you see on-air people and that's what you see on television, there's so many people and so many hardworking people working behind the scenes to make that all happen. And without them, I mean, we just wouldn't have news, right? So there's lots of other avenues that people can go. And even if you prefer to say research or you prefer to write, or you prefer to, you know, produce or conceptualize how a show will look, I mean, there's a job for you.